Hey, let me ask you something. If money solves so many problems, why don't governments just print more of it? I mean, think about it. There's poverty, rising prices, people struggling to pay rent. So why not just print extra cash, give everyone more money, and fix everything? Sounds simple, right? Well, not exactly. Today, we were going to break down why printing more money doesn't magically make a country richer, and why, in some cases, it has completely destroyed economies. First, what actually happens? When you print more money, most people will say it causes inflation. Okay, but what does that actually mean? Inflation is when prices go up, not because things are better, but because there's more money chasing the same amount of goods. Economies run on supply and demand. If there's plenty of something and not many buyers, prices fall. If there's not enough of something and lots of buyers, prices rise. Now here's where printing money becomes a problem. Let's use a simple example. Imagine 5 people: Anna, Ben, Carlos, Dina, and Eric. Each of them has $10, and there are exactly 5 pizzas in town. Each pizza costs $10. Everyone buys one. Simple, balanced. Now imagine the government prints money and gives everyone another 10. Now each person has 20. But guess what? There are still only 5 pizzas. Now everyone wants 2 pizzas instead of 1. But the pizza shop can't magically double production overnight. So what happens? The shop owner notices everyone has more money. People are competing. So the price goes up. Now each pizza costs $20. In the end, everyone still gets 1 pizza. But now they pay double. Did anyone get richer? No, there's still the same number of pizzas. The only thing that changed is the price. But doesn't the business owner win? At first, maybe. But now that pizza shop needs more cheese, more flour, more workers. Other pizza shops also have more money. They all compete to buy ingredients. Suppliers raise their prices. Now costs go up everywhere. Eventually, higher costs cancel out the higher profits. The entire system just inflates. That's how inflation spreads across an economy. And when it spirals out of control, it becomes something worse: hyperinflation. When printing money went horribly wrong, you might think, okay, that sounds bad. But surely no country would actually do that. Well, history says otherwise. Let's look at a few real examples. 1. Germany, 1920s, Weimar Republic. After World War I, Germany was financially crushed. War debts, reparations, economic collapse. The government didn't have enough revenue. So what did they do? They printed money. At first, it seemed manageable. Then prices started rising, then rising faster, then doubling in days. By late 1923, prices were doubling every few hours. People carried wheelbarrows full of cash just to buy bread. Savings became worthless. Middle-class families were wiped out. The economy collapsed into chaos, and that instability helped fuel extreme political movements that changed history forever. 2. Zimbabwe, 2000s. Zimbabwe faced falling agricultural production, unemployment, and heavy economic mismanagement. Instead of fixing productivity issues, the government printed money to pay expenses. The result? One of the worst hyperinflation crises ever recorded. At its peak, inflation reached numbers so large they were almost meaningless. The currency became practically useless. People needed stacks of cash just to buy basic groceries. Eventually, the country abandoned its own currency. Venezuela relied heavily on oil revenue. When oil prices were high, the government spent heavily in subsidized goods. But when oil prices collapsed, government income dropped sharply. Instead of cutting spending or restructuring the economy, they printed money. Prices exploded. The currency lost value so quickly that people weighed money instead of counting it. Even a country with massive oil reserves couldn't print its way out of economic reality. So why doesn't printing money work? Because money's not wealth. Wealth is goods and services, food, technology, infrastructure, energy, education, businesses. Money is just a tool to exchange value. If you increase money without increasing production, you don't create more value. You just divide the same value into more pieces. It's like slicing the same pizza into more slices. It looks like more, but it isn't. What about printing money to pay debt? Good question. What if a government prints money just to pay foreign debt? Wouldn't that solve things quietly? Not really. When a country increases its money supply excessively, investors notice. Currency markets react. The value of that currency drops. Foreign lenders lose trust. And if lenders lose trust, borrowing becomes more expensive or impossible. A country's reputation in global markets matters. Once trust is damaged, it's very hard to rebuild. So what's the real solution? Instead of printing money, governments need to increase productivity. That means investing in education, building infrastructure, supporting businesses, encouraging innovation, improving efficiency. When production increases, supply increases. When supply increases alongside demand, prices stabilize. Jobs grow, income grows, real wealth grows. That's sustainable prosperity. Countries that focused on productivity, like Japan and South Korea, didn't print their way to wealth. They built it. Money feels powerful. But you can't eat money. You can't build a house with paper bills. You can't power a country with printed currency. What truly matters is what an economy produces. Printing money might look like a shortcut. History shows it's usually a trap. If you found this explanation helpful, let me know. And if you'd like a deeper breakdown of inflation, currency value, or how central banks actually manage money supply, I can cover that next. Thanks for watching.